Hello, welcome back. Today we're talking about inferring. Let me explain what I mean when it comes to English and learning. I am talking about those situations where our brain does something so weird, which is it fills the gap when we don't fully understand the full sentence with something that we already know that kind of sounds similar or would naturally make sense to us. So to infer means to add something. Sometimes you infer when you're having a discussion. So you think you know what the person's feeling and thinking. You fill those gaps with whatever is true to you. So it's a dangerous thing, but we all do that in life, and we do that with our English learning, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. It's a very weird thing because I have noticed this with myself a number of times. A number of times means, quite a few times, many times. I have noticed this more often than not. I even have some examples to give you today about myself, about my own learning. So what I'm going to encourage you to do after you watch this video is to take a moment, sit down and think about yourself and things that you may have been inferring when you're speaking English or hearing English. So this is a lot about your listening. It can be as well about your speaking, because look, the moment you hear something and you think you heard it correctly, but you were in fact inferring, and so your brain kind of translated that into something that makes sense to you, you're going to bring that into your speaking too, aren't you? Well, this is definitely what has been happening with me since I started speaking English 22 almost years ago. There were so many situations where I could not fully understand. Fully means completely. I could not fully understand what the person had said, but I didn't know. This is the thing though. I did not know that I couldn't understand it. I thought I had understood it for years. All of those examples I'm about to give you were things that lasted for years, not months, years, okay? And it's fascinating when you understand that you do this, because then slowly, when you're having a much more active listening, I talk a lot about active listening, especially when I'm teaching and videos in general, because I feel that this is what truly makes a massive difference in your learning, to be listening 100% present and not thinking about what you want to say next, and not trying to be clever and not panicking when you don't understand something, to take a deep breath and be in the moment, allowing yourself to fully listen. So to be active in your listening and to listen closely, to really be there, okay? You will realize that the more you listen actively, the more you're going to pick up on those specific tenses, sentences, expressions that you thought were correct, the way you're speaking was correct, but it's in fact a result of your brain trying to help you. So at the end of the day, this is it, isn't it? It's just our brain being so helpful, because without this is not all bad news. God, no. Without this, we would get stuck, and it would take longer for us to develop our speaking. So it's actually very helpful, provided that we listen so actively that we start to pick up on the details and then change what we're saying. It's not always wrong. This is what we need to know too. So the examples I'm about to give you, it's not always wrong. Oh, what I was saying many years ago was wrong. You cannot say that. No, but a lot of the time it would have been unnatural to say it like that because native speakers would be saying it in a different way. Remember, we have been talking about sounding natural. The video from last week was about sounding natural. The live on Instagram last week was about sounding natural because those things make a difference, okay? So let's talk about these examples, shall we? I love saying shall we, it's so British. Shall we is like, I'm suggesting, do you agree? Shall we? You go, yes, sure. Yes, let's do it. So, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is actually not about me. Just remembered. Well, I didn't remember, I just looked at my little paper, didn't I? Yeah. The first thing I want to talk about is not about me, it's about my daughter. So Mimi is 8. You know how girls, especially girls, love hand clapping games, you know, where you kind of use your hands and you clap and you sing along. That's what I want to talk to you guys about. So I live in Brazil. My kids are bilingual. They speak English and Portuguese. And this is about one little hand clap song in Portuguese because it's what my daughter sings at school with her friends. So if you don't speak Portuguese, you don't understand Portuguese, just bear with me. Remember this, I taught you in the video from last week if I'm not wrong. Bear with me, be patient, it's very quick, okay? But if you do speak Portuguese, you will understand what I mean by what she was inferring. Not just my daughter, but all of her friends were inferring together. So the song is like apparently this Brazilian classic of hand clapping called Veia Corocoteia. So, you know, a veia corocoteia caiu no rio e o homem viu a calcinha dela. Deus do céu, né? Complicado. But basically, the little girls were singing it like this because they could not hear the actual word that is in the song, the proper lyrics of this song, which is not about the word rio, which is river. They know the word rio because children know the word river, right? Right. But the actual thing is caiu no meio fio. So they heard rio, but it was meio fio. Meio fio is a word that children usually don't know. This means, you know, when you're driving on the road and you have this little bit on the side that kind of separates the road from the pavement, so that little step thing, that's the curb. Children don't know that, so they could not hear meio fio, they heard rio. So that's inferring. That's what I mean, right? Okay, now English only, don't worry. My examples, my personal examples, okay? For the first few years of my life in England, because I heard this very quickly, people were always saying this around me, I used to say, I better. So I better go, I better run, I better go to bed. Until much later, I learned that it was in fact I'd, as I had. So most of the time it's used as a contraction, I'd better. But because you say it so fast, when you're learning, you cannot hear this I'd. Because I'd better. You don't complete the sound of the D before you say the B. So for a learner, impossible to hear that. You just hear I better. I didn't even know that I'd existed. So I could not hear something that I did not know existed. That's where inferring comes in. Another example, for years I said rushed decision. Rushed decision is not wrong, but it generally just means that you're making a decision like very fast in time. So you make a decision in like a minute. So it's really about the time it takes. Whereas a rash decision means that you didn't consider everything, that you were a little bit naive in terms of making a decision. So I always said rushed decision. For years I said rushed decision because I could not hear rash decision, simply because To me, it made sense to say rushed because I already knew the word rushed. After years in England, I knew the word rushed. And rash was a word I knew, referring to what you get on your skin, right? So if you have a food allergy, you may get a rash on your skin. So that didn't make any sense to me. My brain could not combine rash with decision. It doesn't go together, so it must be rushed, right? This next one I love. It's not wrong what I was saying as well, but for years I could not hear the other way people say this, which is very, very common. I always said it's about time. So it's about time it stopped raining. It's an expression. But years later, I heard for the first time, it's high time, high time. And I thought, hold on a minute, high time? And then I realized that more often than not, so very often indeed, I was hearing about time even when people were saying high time, because high time made no sense to me. How can we improve on that? Well, reading and listening combined. Okay, so this is a very specific practice where using English subtitles can be helpful. Although I really, really like the idea of then using some sort of book with an audiobook at the same time. I think this would be more beneficial. But if you want to do this practice using English subtitles when you're watching something, that's okay. Make sure that you're using subtitles and not captions from YouTube, because captions from YouTube can have lots of mistakes in them, okay? So yes, when you read and you listen at the same time, then you start to kind of see how things really are, and it can help you not infer so much as often as you would, although you will continue to do that, because remember, it's just your brain helping you. Use it as something that helps you learn more, helps you improve. Don't be put off by it. Put off means, oh, I don't want to ever infer, I just want to speak correctly. No. You will naturally infer, but try to learn from those moments where you do. As I said, take a moment, think about your own English, little things that you may be inferring that you never noticed before, and you go, hold on a minute. Okay, let me check. I think I've been saying this in a different way, and that's not actually what people have been saying around me. It could be helpful. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.